following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McCray, and Newy Scruggs.
It's Monday, and it is time for some Monday morning. The Cowboys end up losing to Seattle. The best thing I can say about Monday is there's a hockey game tonight. The Dallas Stars are trying to keep their Stanley Cup playoff hopes alive in Game 6 tonight on NBC. But, yes, we will spend 45 minutes dissecting this Cowboys loss to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm Newy Scruggs. This is the Players Lounge right here on DallasCowboys.com. Barry Church, former Cowboys safety, joins me along with Danny McCray, Cowboys safety.
Danny, you got Newy over there?
All right, gentlemen. We've got a 38-37 loss, and for me, it's all about the Cowboys secondary.
All right. We're having a little trouble with Newy's communication thing right there, so we'll get back to Newy. But we brought the point up of the troubles in the secondary that we were discussing here, and to me, the secondary play was just god awful out there. I mean, I'm sure Danny, you can attest to this, but that secondary, I mean, you can't have people running scot-free out there. And DK Metcalf twice was wide open in the back of the secondary. I'm not sure what the coverage was, but the safeties seem to have their eyes in the backfield a lot this game, giving up a lot of huge, big-time plays out there that they just can't do. You can't afford to do that. So to me, this secondary played god-awful. They did show a little bit of fight, towards the end. Second half, tuned it up a little bit, but we just can't have starts like that, man. What you think about that play, Danny?
Yeah, man. Just as soon as it happened, like for the third time, I sent Newy and Church a text message like, "What are these dudes looking at?" Like, we came in and we talked about like scheme and being confused and every other excuse in the book, and then we got into the game, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything except you guys and your technique and having your eyes in the wrong place. You could have saved 2 or 3 touchdowns by just having your eyes in the correct place. So to me, it was glaring. It was so glaring that you start wondering like, what the hell are they doing at practice? It was absolutely crazy at how easy these things could have been fixed. But we are still in week 3 and still having these same mistakes. So the secondary was definitely a very big issue, man. So I don't know where we go. Well, I guess we can only go up. But if we keep this up, man, it's going. We'll be home in December, man. Our last game be played in December, and we'll be going on vacation in January.
Yeah, you talked about it. You hit it right on the nail. I mean, a lot of these touchdowns, once they showed the replays, we see a lot of the secondary players with their eyes in the backfield. I mean, we knew on that goal line one to Tyler Lockett, they were in man-to-man. And when they did the run fake, you saw Diggs, who I'll give him credit. He did fight in the second half, but his eyes were just all in the backfield. In the corner, you can't do that. As a corner, you got to let that front seven, that defensive line, those linebackers, you got to let them handle it. Your job is simply to just lock down those receivers and make sure nothing gets over your head. And we've seen a lot of that these first couple weeks. And what I just can't understand is with Tyler Lockett, he's arguably 1B to DK Metcalf's 1A. But he's already had 2 touchdowns in the first half. And that third one, he's scot-free. He's wide open in the back of the end zone. Nobody around him. How are you letting a guy with that potential and that success early in this game just go scot-free and run it through your secondary? I just couldn't get it, and I just didn't understand it. I don't know if it's because they're so young or if it's because the scheme is too difficult, but we got to figure out something because we can't continue to survive this season. Where we're just trying to battle back, and we're already giving up 14 points to begin with in the hole. I mean, people killed Garrett for having this team like that last year with the slow starts and weren't motivated to get out there and play early and always had to try to battle back to get in the game. So we got to figure out something because these slow starts and these trying to battle back and race back into the game, it's just not going to be sustainable for the whole season.
Do you put this on Mike Nolan?
Yeah.
I got you here. Is Mike Nolan Okay.
There's nobody else. There's nobody else to blame, right? Because see, this is what happens. You go into the game, right? And if the first touchdown, I believe, it looked like cover 4, right? And they ran a 2-man route, so we had 4 guys to cover 2 guys, and we don't cover them. Right, so that's, to me, and I say this from experience. When you run a cover 4, what happens? Sometimes it can get confusing between the corner and the safety when they have a 2-man route. But essentially, that's supposed to turn into a double team. What happened on that was the eyes were in the backfield. You would think that they were running read option, but it was just a regular play fake. So the safety shouldn't even be up in there. So and then the other ones, somebody was on Twitter talking, and I was like, hey man, look, man to man is not confusing enough for us to be looking like that. If you have a problem to where you're running in and outs and you're trying to get these things figured out in these tight formations, and you see this is an issue, you just tell them, hey, we just going basic old school man on man, and we'll live with the result. Instead, we just sat there and did the same thing and just let them run free and look confused in the secondary. Like I said, very much like how we looked when Rob Ryan was here, confusing, and they got him out of here because the word miscommunication.
That word, by the way, is what we kept seeing and hearing over and over in the Cowboys press conferences, is guys talking about miscommunication here. Let me read from Trayvon Diggs. He said, it's really on us, honestly, just communication. There are things we've got to correct in practice, things like that. We're going to get it right. It's just communication. That's it. It's literally it. Xavier Woods says, we left too many opportunities out there. We just didn't start fast in the first half. We came out slow. They put up too many points. It was just too big of a deficit for us to come back. In the second half, we played better. Then you got Jalen Smith saying it's frustrating, but a learning experience. What we must do, and for real, it's time. It's time that we do what we need to do. I love this one from Tank Lawrence. Tank Lawrence saying, I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that move around like that. If you let him get outside of the pocket, they become a force. They're pretty good at it. So hats off to Russ and them. They won the game, but we'll see them again. That's from Tank Lawrence.
Listen. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you. Russell did not really kill them outside the pocket. And 2, for Diggs, that ain't it. It ain't just miscommunication, all right? It's way more than that, all right? It was a big issue, but that ain't it. So let's not act like they can go into practice and say, hey, we fixed this man-to-man coverage, the in and out, and not let Lockett run free. All of a sudden, we be winning the game. That ain't it. It's a lot more to it. So, I hope he sees that. I know it's, the mind is moving fast when you get that camera in your face, but I know he didn't mean what he said, especially on today after they watched that film. It's a lot more than that.
Okay, so I just wanted to touch on a couple things from the secondary. You guys tell me if I'm crazy here. The penalties were a couple things that really stood out to me, and I go back to one touchdown drive by Seattle. It was a 3rd and 10 at the Dallas 46. Russell Wilson gets sacked, but then there's a flag, and it's Daryl Worley, illegal contact. Then it's a 2nd and 9, same drive, 2nd and 9, the Dallas 23. Worley makes an interception, but there's a flag. Pass interference by Jordan Lewis. Now we've got a 1st and 10 at the Dallas 15. A PI is called on Brandon Carr, and then 2 plays later, Seattle scores a touchdown to make it 16-9. That's 11 plays, 71 yards. And basically the Cowboys, from a defensive backfield standpoint, just kept giving Seattle first downs with plays there. That was early in the football game. Gentlemen, your thoughts on that?
Well, look, and that drive in particular, you know what? I'm going to say I'm okay with that Daryl Worley where it was a legal touching, because that was kind of, it was a ticky-tacky. He didn't really, push him or anything like that. He kind of tried to hold his ground. So, I can deal with that. And that one in the back of the end zone with B. Carr, he was a little touchy on there, a little holdy. But once again, I mean, that's just going to be a part of the game. He was going against a tight end, bigger body. He tried to muscle him a little bit. That's just a part of the game. But what I can't live with is the fact that, once again, we coming back to these DBs with their eyes in the backfield, particularly Jordan Lewis on that holding penalty. He's supposed to reroute him, because I believe they were in cover 3. So he's supposed to reroute him. But if you can't get your hands on him within 5, you kind of just got to body reroute him and let him go around you. But without having your eyes on the receiver, your eyes are back at the quarterback, you're just reaching and grabbing for things. And he reached and he grabbed for his arm, held on to it. And we obviously sat there and seen him obstruct him from getting to the ball so Darryl Worley can get the interception. But those are things that I just can't live with. I mean, he's played enough ball now to where he knows that he can't just go out there and reach and grab at that nickel position, especially going against a guy like Lockett, who's veteran, who's savvy, who can sell all that stuff. So you can't do that. The moral of the story here today is you can't be caught with your eyes in the backfield as a defensive back. And we've seen it kill this team time and time again.
Yes, same here. I think 2 out of 3 for me was, they really were just part of the game. The illegal contact, that happens all the time, man. It's a DB and it's a defensive back coach. That's some stuff you just have to deal with. And then Brandon Carr, once they get to the back of the end zone, you're supposed to turn your back to him, try to push him out of bounds. You just go back and forth with a tight end. So to me, that really wasn't a big issue. That type of stuff, literally happens, And then Jordan Lewis, very confusing, right? You don't know if he's playing zone or man because, zone, he got his eyes in the backfield, he gets to a spot, he's fine. But to me, it looked like he was playing cover 3 and he was supposed to carry the seam. And the dude runs straight up the seam right in his face, and he doesn't realize that he's there until he's on his toes because his eyes are in the backfield. And I'm just looking at it like it's so blatant that it doesn't, I want to blame it on him, but this is across the entire secondary besides probably Brandon Carr because he's a vet. So it's something that they have going on with this coaching that they're not getting across to these guys. So that's why I have to put it on Mike Nolan because it's not just one player. It's essentially the whole defense, including the linebackers, because even when they run play action and you see these guys overrunning stuff, that means their eyes a lot of times aren't in the correct place. So the entire defense, as far as the linebackers and secondary, they have a big issue, and that comes from coaching. And I think they've been in training camp long enough and going through these games. They're in week 3, and these are elementary problems that we're having, and it's getting us killed. So I got to put this on Nolan.
All right, let me
This
ask you
is
both
the
a
Players
question.
Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. Go ahead, Barry.
Are we done with this the Darian Thompson experiment? I mean, is it just me or my guy was getting roasted and toasted, all game? I mean, and missing time. I just don't know. I'm going to ask you guys: are we done with this Darian Thompson experiment? Do we need to bring in help from the outside?
I'll answer it from a Stephen Jones standpoint. He was asked today on 105.3 The Fan, the Cowboys radio flagship station, are there any plans to go out and go get some help? And he said no. He said there's no plans. And I said on Twitter yesterday, Eric Reed needs a jersey and a number and a contract this week.
And a contract, yeah.
So apparently that's not what they want to do. And Steven's talking about guys coming off IR. So I'm assuming he's speaking of Anthony Brown here. And I know Darian Thompson is getting lit up. I get it. But I'll also say this in fairness to him. Should I be mad at him or should I be mad at the people who hired him and put him on out there and keep putting him out there? Because that to me is the bigger thing. He is who he is. This is another guy who, this is no first round draft pick. This is a dude who's on the Giants. I mean, you tend to be taking Giants players. I mean, it's not all him. I mean, Clinton Dix was brought in here and then they found out, this guy is the guy who's been bouncing around here. So they haven't addressed this as a management team. And this is, it's easy for us to jump on the players here, but Church, you've been here before. You see they don't put resources back here. They don't want to pay for anybody. They don't want to draft anybody in the first 3 rounds. So you basically are getting what you're paying for. You go to Dollar General, you're going to get a Dollar General generic safety. And that's what they have. But I'm not mad at Darian Thompson because he can only do what he can do. Nobody came into training camp thinking, that's the guy. This is the guy that's going to be the guy. And now he's back there as the guy, and Xavier Woods is back there too, and he's getting exposed a little bit. But I'm looking at these safeties, I'm like, man, I don't know if it's all the way I should put it and beat them up as much as you ought to beat up management and beat up the coaching staff, because it's your job to cover up the warts. That's what coaching is all about. How do I cover up the warts? And they're not doing it right now. So that's my take on the safeties.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm not putting it on Darian Thompson. Because if you look at the secondary, tell me one that's playing well. So we can sit here and point out and be like, man, he ain't the guy. If you gonna replace him, if I'm him, I'm like, if you gonna replace me, you gotta replace everybody that's starting. You got to replace Diggs because he's playing. You know, we watched him. He made a hell of a play, but he got beat like a drum on that play. Jordan Lewis out there with his eyes in the backfield. We're not playing well across the board. So I can understand why they say, you know, we just gonna focus on our guys, because if that's the case, if you're being, you know, if you're management, you're being fair to all your players, you got to say, hey, none of y'all playing right. So we need to be bringing in free agents for each position, and Brandon Carr need to be starting because it just
That's
looks bad.
I agree with that.
So you know, I can't blame it on Darian Thompson. Like, I'm blaming it strictly on the coaching, because I think he has some talent, and I think they all do, but I think they're just not being coached well enough for them to be successful. And you, like, when your eyes in the backfield, you got to hammer that. Like, this is something, when you come back to the sideline, you can't do the same thing the next drive. Like, think about it, Newy and Church. We called timeout before that play when Tyler Lockett was in the back of the end zone. We called a timeout, and we came out were just as confused as we were before the play started, before we called the timeout. that doesn't make any sense. We got to look at the formation, and then we came back to the sideline. The coach said, hey, this is the formation they line up in. Y'all look for this. And then we came out, and you see these dudes looking left and right and can't figure out who's supposed to be covering who. It didn't make any sense.
And they let the guy with 3 first half touchdowns wide open. It's crazy.
Cornerback.
Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start Brandon Carr? What position?
The dealer's choice. I'm gonna start.
Would you say it's all open for all open? Huh?
Yeah, dealer's choice, man. I'm gonna start him at corner. That's just because it's natural position. You just got to start plugging one hole at a time. So put him where he's best at, and that's cornerback, where he has the most experience, and then see how that works out. Because, you know, you throw him in there safety, then all of a sudden you put him at a position where everybody else is confused, so he might be just as confused as the rest of the squad. So put him at corner, let him play some man-to-man, see what he got. That's why you brought him in here. He was still productive at doing that last season, so, you know, put him in there and just start with that.
All right, Cowboys go down 38-31. Russell Wilson with 5 touchdown passes. You are checking out the Players Lounge. We do it every Monday through Friday, 2:30 Central Time. I'm Newy Scruggs, longtime Cowboys reporter. These two guys are former Dallas Cowboys safeties, Barry Church and Danny McCray. Let's catch a break in here. There's a bunch of topics we still got to get to. The weak link on the offensive line. Let's identify that player. How do they go forward? What's the status of L.L. Collins? I was pretty surprised at what I found out today about Collins possibly returning. Lots to get to right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay? Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Back to the Players Lounge.
All right, get your tickets now to see the Cowboys take on the Cleveland Browns when they return to AT&T Stadium on Sunday, October 4th. Limited number of tickets are on sale now. Get yours at DallasCowboys.com/tickets. Newy Scruggs with you here, along with Barry Church and Danny McCray. Those guys are former Dallas Cowboys safeties. I'm a longtime Cowboys reporter. All right, by the way, we all were correct on our pick. We all took Seattle. I had the Cowboys losing by 5. Church, you had them losing by 7. D-Mac, you had them losing by 3. So, Church, you are Nostradamus for the week. It was a 7-point defeat for the Cowboys. So, apparently you...
nothing new. It's nothing new. it's nothing new, man. You guys don't seem... it's nothing new, man. It's just how it goes, It's just how it is.
All right, this Cowboys offensive line has got issues, and it hasn't been a whole to begin the season. And you've got Lyle Collins missing another game here. He was on injured reserve, so that put him out 3 weeks. But it may be longer because Stephen Jones was on the radio today saying that Collins is not exactly where they want him to be. So, fellas, you could have Collins missing this game against the Cleveland Browns. Tyron Smith missed his second game. And I want to talk about, in my opinion, the weakest link on the Cowboys offensive line. And it's not Terrence Steele, who started at right tackle the past 2 games and was benched in the Seattle game. And here's why I'm not blaming Terrence Steele. He's an undrafted rookie, okay? That's not you putting your best guy out there. They finally put a real replacement out there, tackle. They moved all-pro Zach Martin from guard to right tackle, and this guy was good. It reminded me of when Larry Allen got kicked out to tackle, and you're sitting there saying, wow, this guy could be Pro Bowl at tackle. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Zach Martin is Ivory Larry Allen. He was so good yesterday. And they may need to go ahead and keep him out there if Collins is not there. If Collins can't play on Sunday against the Browns, then to me, you've got to go ahead and make that change and put Zach Martin out at right tackle, kick Joe Looney in the guard, and have Tyler Biadasz, the rookie, play at center. And to me, that weak link on the offensive line is Connor Williams. There's just too many times you're watching Connor Williams get pushed back here. And I'm just surprised that in year number 3, that Connor is not a better player, especially since they used a second-round draft pick on him. Danny McCray, you go ahead and start.
Yeah, but with Connor, I see the same thing you see. And, I just have to remember that it's week 3. The guy's coming off an injury, and he hadn't really had much time to get back in the field of things. And it's really showing on the field. And, so I think you're accurate with the pick, but I think that he might need a little bit more time, but unfortunately, the way that we've started the season, everything is so glaring. All the mistakes are just out there. So, it's just so obvious. If we were 3-0, I think it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But since we are where we are, it is a big deal. So, I feel you, Newy, but I still think he needs a couple more weeks to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a little bit more week or a couple more weeks just to get his groove in. He is coming off of an injury, but for the most part, this is kind of just like the secondary. I mean, it's kind of like pick your poison. I mean, outside of Zach Martin, the All-Pro, I mean, they all kind of had their struggles in these first 3 games. So for me, I liked what they did by putting Zach Martin out there at the tackle position because he was able to hold that down pretty well. This is a guy that, he could probably be an All-Pro at all 5 offensive lineman positions. So I like what they did right there. And I'm going to need them to do that next week because they got a guy coming in here by the name of Myles Garrett. And this guy, he's a beast. He's known for getting after quarterbacks. I think he has like 3 sacks so far this season, but he's a disruptive force in the run game and in the pass game. So maybe they want to move Zach Martin out there to tackle just to help solidify that pass rush. But for me, the most part, it's kind of just pick your poison, man. I mean, we've struggled with this patchwork offensive line right now. It's early in the season, but we just need the reinforcements to come in. We need Lyle Collins, but which it doesn't seem like we're going to get him back anytime soon. Hopefully, Tyron Smith. They say he's day-to-day with that neck or that stinger injury, so hopefully he's able to come back and help us out. But we need the reinforcements bad, man. This patchwork offensive line is just it is what it is. It's undrafted guys. It's guys out of position, and they're just trying to do their best to get a pass protection going. So we just need the reinforcements in there. But I like Zach Martin at that tackle versus Myles Garrett. So hopefully we can get that next week as well.
Good point by you. Myles Garrett is coming to town. It'll be his first game at AT&T Stadium as a professional football player. He started at Arlington Martin High School and ended up going to Texas A&M before becoming the first player drafted in what has become a heck of a quarterback class. And it had Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Both of those guys were drafted after Mitchell Trubisky, so who got benched by the Bears yesterday, but people forget that Myles was the first player taken. So yes, the Cowboys have got to figure out how to defend him. Another point of emphasis for me, and obviously you saw the offensive line issues, was that Kellen Moore only called 14 rushes for Ezekiel Elliott in the football game, and he had 34 yards and 1 touchdown. To me, this is a problem. This is a defense that we talked about time and time again. They can't stay on the field for 30 minutes, and they were on the field for over 32 minutes. They've got to try to run the football. Once again, I understand you got offensive line issues, but 57 dropbacks by Dak Prescott is just not going to win many football games. I think when you start looking at guys who throw the ball 50-plus times, they're pretty much going to be on the losing end of football games. And to me, 14 rushes is just not enough of an attempt. It's not enough of a try to figure out how to establish the run. Ezekiel Elliott has to touch the football more than 14 times running the ball in a football game. Danny McCray, am I crazy when I say that? Am I wrong when I say that?
Let me tell you something. Listen, let me tell you something. Somebody, anybody, needs to walk in there where Kellen Moore is at with the contracts of the players on offense, and they need to show them to them. They need to show them that they have a very expensive running back. They need to show them that they have a very expensive receiver. And since they pay him this much money, they need to make sure that he gets them involved in the game. How do you not give Zeke the ball for at least the first 6 snaps of the game? This makes entirely no sense when everybody knows that the strength of the team and what we should be doing against Seattle is trying to run. We come out and try to do it way too much. I don't understand it. I never will. Kellen Moore, to me, should be done. Mike McCarthy should have. I seen him with his play sheet in his hand, so I'm not sure how much he was involved in it. But if they don't find a way to fix this, I'm not gonna say McCarthy should get fired, but they should find a replacement for Kellen Moore, because he just. I tweet. I said, hey man, what is the identity of our offense? If one of you can tell me, then I would happily listen and accept it. But I can't see what the identity of our offense is. What does the defensive coordinator come in and say, hey, we have to stop this. This is what the Cowboys want to do. Because I don't know. So I'll let one of y'all, inform me on what that is.
Yeah, I'm just as confused as you are. I'll always believe that Ezekiel Elliott is the engine for this offense, and he kind of gets this thing rolling. But it was surprising to me, like you pointed out, the first 6 plays on offense. I mean, he didn't get a touch at all, and then or they were even pass plays, I believe. So. And we look back last week into Atlanta. What got them back into the game? What got them rolling again? And that's they didn't give up on the run game. They kept feeding Ezekiel Elliott, and he kept pounding on that defense. I mean, this go around, like you said, 14 touches again the run. That's just not going to do it. That's not going to have him in that rhythm. That's not going to have him pounding down this defense and opening up the pass game. So I agree with both of you on this one. It's confusing which way the offense is going right now. We don't know their identity. But I will tell you this: I don't think they're going to win a lot of games with 57 dropbacks with Dak Prescott and only 14 rushes for Ezekiel Elliott. I just don't think that's a winning formula, and they got to figure out something soon. If I'm McCarthy, I'm saying, hey, you got to get this offense going, because I'm not going down because you're play calling. So we'll see what goes on, but I think Ezekiel got to be the engine to this offense.
Well, one thing, Newy. Listen, Kellen Moore should go and look at the New Orleans Saints and how they play the game. All right, they pay Michael Thomas; he gets a lot of catches. They pay Kamara; he gets. If you watched the game last night, you see what an offense that's focused on their highest paid running back looks like. This is what the game should look like. They ran the entire game through Kamara, and they almost pulled it off. This is what we should be doing. I don't get it. It should be Coop, Ezekiel Elliott, and Dak Prescott, and then everybody else should be, picking up the scraps. But that's what we should be doing, and we just don't seem to be focused on that. I don't understand. Kamara killed last night, and Michael Thomas, when he's in the game, killed, and they're the focal pieces of the offense.
Well, what you're talking about is an elite play caller. That's what Sean Payton is, an elite play caller. And he's called plays for 2 Super Bowl teams, his Saints team that won, and he ended up calling plays for a Giants team that lost to the Baltimore Ravens. But I think it was Super Bowl 35. So that's what Sean is. And then you look at the last 2 NFC winners, the guys, the teams that played the Super Bowl to represent the NFC. Kyle Shanahan with the 49ers last year, an elite play caller who like Sean Payton, will mix the run and the pass. The running backs are heavily used. And then before that with the LA Rams and Sean McVay. I mean, you saw what he did with Todd Gurley and how they ran the football. In fact, the Cowboys lost to them that year. They went to the Super Bowl. And then the first game of the season this year, without Todd Gurley, we saw Sean McVay establish the run to then work off the pass. They are teams that run the football here. And you guys are on point about Kellen Moore. Now, former general manager Mike Lombardi. I was in Cleveland when Mike Lombardi and Belichick were there with the Cleveland Browns. He has a podcast called the GM Shuffle. And in it, he got on Mike McCarthy. He said, Mike, what are you doing? You've made your bones as a guy who calls plays. Why are you not calling plays? And he jumped on Kellen Moore. He was saying the same thing. He said Kellen Moore is just calling plays, that he's not calling the plays that help his football team, which is you and your offense need to control the ball because your defense shouldn't be out there on the field. And he says Kellen's just looking in the bag like, okay, let's call this play, let's call that play, instead of calling the plays to strategize and help your football team. And at some point in time, Lombardi is saying basically what you're saying, Danny, is snatch that play sheet away. Maybe Jerry Jones really wanted you to let Kellen Moore call plays and give him a shot. But if your football team is going to have an opportunity to play for some meaningful games in January, you may have to jump in there and say, hey, young fella, I'm calling these plays. You set up stuff during the week, but on game day, I'm going to call these plays because 21 simply cannot only have 14 carries in a football game.
Don't let him set up none during the week. I don't want to see no more wing tee or speed option. He got Tony Pollard back there with Zeke on 4th and 1. Like, what? Line up in the I formation and show him what you're gonna do. Or you got Dak faking the pitch twice. I'm like, bro, this is my bad, Church. Man, I'm just upset. Go ahead.
No, you good. You good. It just doesn't seem like he's playing, the game with thinking moves ahead. It just seems like you said, Newy, like he's just picking out of the bag, saying, oh, maybe this play will work. Oh, maybe this play will work. It just doesn't seem like he's setting anything up. Like if you have a catalyst of a back like that in Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield, let him run that thing. Let him pound it. Even if it's only 3 to 4 yards in a cloud of dust, each time he's touching it, you're setting something up. I mean, every time you hand the ball off to him, that defense, since he's that good of a runner, the defense are going to have eyes in the backfield. They're going to respect that play action. So for me, it's just the simple fact that he's not thinking, 2 moves ahead. He's thinking just maybe this will work or maybe that'll work. You got to set something up when you're going against defenses. So I mean, if you run it 14 times in the fourth quarter, they're not going to respect that play action. They're going to be sitting back there waiting for your receivers to come to them. So to me, I just think he needs to set up more things for this offense. But like you guys said, if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm snatching that play sheet ASAP. I'm not going down with you on this one, big dog.
All right, we got to take another break here. Want to get into a Cowboys player who is being called dirty on Monday. Let's dive into his situation. You're checking out the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com, right here on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team.
Get yours today at shop.dallascowboys.com or at stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score, September 2019.
To Dallas's frontline responders, thank you. To show its gratitude, Tide is offering free laundry services in Dallas to the families of frontline responders. Simply bring your laundry and your identification to Tide Cleaners, and they will wash it within 2 days. one thing less for you to worry about. While you take care of us all, Tide will take care of the laundry for the families of frontline responders. To learn more and find a location near you, visit hope.tidecleaners.com.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor. See more, do more.
Back to the Players Lounge.
All right, you're back at the Players Lounge. We are in our SWBC Mortgage Home Virtual Studios here. Coming to the Cowboys game this weekend, make sure you know before you go, wear a mask. Keep distance and be prepared for cashless transactions. Please be aware of all stadium safe policies prior to arriving at AT&T Stadium. Visit DallasCowboys.com/safe stadium for details. Pete Carroll has a Monday morning radio show he does up in Seattle, and he said he was, quote, pissed about the play that Tristan Hill made on running back Chris Carson, where he gator roll tackled him in his leg, and Carson had to go out. He's not going to – he doesn't have an ACL tape, but he may end up missing some time here. He's definitely got hurt on the football play. And then Tristan Hill on the Seattle two-point conversion, in which Seattle didn't convert, but Hill does a head-to-head hit on Russell Wilson, thus giving the Seahawks another shot at the two-point conversion, and they convert. So Tristan Hill being called dirty all across social media. So, Barry Church, what'd you see from Hill, and is he dirty?
Look, I don't know. Contrary to most belief about the Twitter world, they're going out there saying, I just don't think he's a dirty player. I don't think he's that savvy. Like I wouldn't give him that that Bill Romanowski type. Oh, he's out there to hurt people. I don't think that. The tackle that he did do, it was a gator roll. And Danny, you can attest to this. Every coach that we've had, when you got tackling drills, there's two type of tackles they drill. There's the form tackle, and then there's that gator roll tackle. And every single time a coach is talking about that, defensive coaches, they always say, come up with a body part. Come up with a body part. And if you got to hold on for dear life and roll over to get the guy down, I mean, it's football. You're going to do what you got to do to get him down. And I think he was just going through what the coaches say. I mean, they always say when you do that gator roll, come up with a body part to make sure that guy isn't, spun out of that tackle and got off. So I don't think he's on that, that dirty player, that Bill Romanowski, that, Ron Harrison, the safety back in the days. I don't see him as that type of guy, but I just think they were the play with Russell Wilson. I just think that was a stupid play. I just think, he got rid of the ball. He just put a little push on him, but I just don't think he's doing these things purposefully. So I'm not going to call him a dirty player. I'm just saying, hey, he was a young dude and he was doing a gator roll tackle, and that's what the coaches tell you to do.
Yeah, I don't know him personally, so I don't know if he's a dirty player or not, but I know that those two plays definitely don't make him a dirty player. Yeah, when you're in the league and you got a running back who's known for breaking tackles and getting yard at the contact, what you do is you grab a body part and then you hold on until the whistle blows. Because we've seen many times guys like Kamara and Zeke, you'll think they're down and they're not, and then all of a sudden you get in the film room and you're like, man, I just wasn't trying to hurt the dude, and then you cut. So I think he was doing what he had to do, and he was making a play. And Pete Carroll is right for taking up for his player, especially since he did get injured, and that's just a part of the game. But I don't think it was dirty. And we've seen, actually, I saw that same gator roll in a couple games yesterday, and the guy didn't get hurt, and there was no fuss about it. And the hit on Russell Wilson, we see that each week throughout the league as well, and it's just one of those things that's hard not to do, especially when you're so close to a guy and you got to pull off. So it happens. I don't think he's dirty.
Okay, let's save the best for last here as we end the show. Special teams. Can you guys explain to me what Tony Pollard was doing out there on the kickoff?
Go ahead, D-Mac. You got this one.
At the one. Yeah, D-Mac. Help me understand.
Yeah, what he was out there doing was messing up. That's what he was doing. No, listen. This what he did. And I would just. So what he did, he dropped the ball, and then he had a little indecision. He was trying to wonder if he could still get it in for a touchback, and that little indecision got us put on the one, for safety. He's made some pretty big mistakes out there. And I know a lot of it is coaching, because previous games when he was taking it out 7 yards deep and having us start, on the 20 and the 22 instead of being that automatic 25, I think those were mistakes. And then he also made a mistake here on kickoff return, with putting us on the 1 yard and costing us a safety. So unfortunately, this goes right back to coaching again. These are some things that should be being coached. And he should know what he should do when he gets into these situations, and he obviously doesn't. And his special teams, minus the onside kick, is hurting us.
Danny, let me ask this question here. The NFL changed the rules, and touchback, it starts at the 25. Pretty much, and Dave Hellman talked about this on with the Cowboys podcast earlier. They pretty much don't want you to run the ball back. They want you to just go ahead and, all right, boom, hey, touchback and start at the 25. They're trying to kind of eliminate the kickoff play. So what's Pollard doing? And considering the fact you're starting at the 1, you think you're going to run 25 yards against those dudes? I don't get it. Help me understand the thinking there.
If he catches the ball, he's fine on that one. If you catch it on the 1 and you catch it on the go, that is perfectly fine, right? You take the chance and you go out there and you try to make a play. That, like, the guys that are out there blocking for you are getting paid. This is still a phase of the football game. You can still try to do that. The ones where I'm confused on, when he's 6 and 7 yards deep, and then you got to run 30 yards just to get it to where you would have been if you left it in, which makes no sense. And then you drop the ball, which is a mistake, but then don't compound that into putting your team on the 1 by being indecisive and not picking the ball up and going for a run. Like, get them to the 10, save as much as you can. And he didn't do any one of those things. And like I said, I take that back to coaching. These are things that he should know. And it just points back to how he's being coached, up there at the Ford Center.
Woo. Woo, that was ugly because it led to a safety by Seattle, and then of course you had 2 extra points missed in the football game. There were just too many swings where the Cowboys were shooting themselves in the foot here, and it's it's driving fans crazy. I'm out here drinking this blue juice from Mike McCarthy, sitting up here singing his praises. I mean, I'm talking about how, hey man, he's bringing in this special teams coach, Fossil. He's good. It's going to happen. I'm looking at the special team like, well, I mean, we could have had Keith O'Quinn back for this. I mean, just Zerline, listen to kick. Yeah, it's worse because we were told they were the answer. We were told the emphasis was going to be here. That's the part that really just chaps you. It's like, wait, it's supposed to be better, right? I mean, how do you miss an extra point? You Zerline. I mean, one of them was blocked. That's not his fault. But you just missed one. You got $7.5 million, but you got to make these things. And they're not good enough to overcome their mistakes. And that's so much of watching Cowboy football right now under Mike McCarthy is not only are you making mistakes, you're making mistakes in which you're giving away points. And you're just not good enough defensively to give points away to anybody. And that part of it is frustrating here. All right, let's end talking about Monday Night Football. Kansas City, Baltimore, 2 former MVPs get after it. Kansas City Super Bowl champion at Baltimore. Who you got tonight, guys?
I got Baltimore, and for the simple fact that I need them in fantasy, man. I need them. I mean, I'm going against the guy that I got. He got Tyreek Hill on one side. He got the kicker for Baltimore. So I don't need him to kill him that much. I just need him to beat him low. But I'm going with Baltimore, man. I think they look good so far. The rushing attack looks amazing. The guy from Ohio State, J.K. Dobbins. I mean, that dude's real. That dude's a real business. So Lamar Jackson and that crew, I think they'll be a little bit too much for the Kansas City Chiefs this afternoon. But I'm going 31-21 Baltimore.
10-point defeat for Mahomes? Wow.
Now, you know who you're talking to right now. You're talking to Nostradamus, man. All right? So listen to me.
You write that down. We're going to write that down.
I'm going with Baltimore as well, specifically because Kansas City has been looking a little off for the last few weeks, and I don't see them being able to come back on a team like Baltimore, especially during the regular season, because as we should be doing, they can run the ball. They have good coaches, and they know how to, if they get a lead, they know what to do. They have Lamar Jackson. They got J.K. Dobbins. They have Ingram. They have guys back there that can keep the ball away from Mahomes, and I think they'll play that keep-away game, and we should watch it and take notes. So I'm taking Baltimore by 6, 33-27.
Okay. What you got, Newy?
24-21, Kansas City wins. So there you go. I'm just gonna.
All right. Nice, short and sweet. All right.
I think they'll. I just like Mahomes. I like what they're doing. I think they're a better football team than they were last year, and they went up to L.A. and had some issues with the Chargers. Chargers played them tougher than we thought, but the Chargers played everybody pretty tough here, and so I think that they get this one. So it'll be fun to watch this game here, and so hopefully Danny McCray.
Are you watching
your fantasy game? Am I watching? No, I'm not. Game 6 tonight.
I see the hat.
Game 6 tonight on NBC.
Let's hope they survive, man.
I missed the NBA this weekend watching the Stars, and so I'm going to miss Monday Night Football tonight. My fantasy game's already done. I've already won, so I don't need to watch. So I'm all good there. But the Stars have to win tonight. If they don't, they end up losing the Stanley Cup in 6 games. So that double overtime game in Game 5 to get it to 6. So, I'll be watching the hockey game tonight. Rare is it that we get a Dallas-Fort Worth team playing in a championship round. So it's pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to put my eyeballs on this. And then, Tuesday we've got a whole lot more work to get into. We'll start thinking about the Cleveland Browns and what Dallas has to do to try and slow down that receiving core. If you're Baker Mayfield, you got to be licking your chops watching video this week about what the Cowboys are doing. So we'll see if they make any additions to this Cowboys secondary, but a whole lot of work to get through all week long. We do it right here on the Players Lounge at 2:30 every day. Follow me on Twitter at Newy Scruggs. It's NEWYSCRUGGS. Fellas, give them your handles.
At Barry Church 42, and that's both on Instagram and Twitter.
And at Danny DMac 44 on Twitter, at Danny_McCray 40 on Instagram.
All right, this is the Players Lounge brought to you by Hotels.com for Danny, Barry, and the supreme producer, our guy Chris Beam, who keeps us on point all the time. This is the Players Lounge brought to you by Hotels.com on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?